Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Andy Mattison. We begin tonight in Worcester, where an out-of-control truck slides down a hill, causing damage to the front of a house. Central Massachusetts, not too far from New Hampshire, which has the first in the nation primary next year. The latest polls show that Trump has extended his lead in the Granite State. That's the latest at the DCU Center. I'm Andy Mattison. In addition to the online petition, the governor's office recently spoke in favor of the winery keeping all of its licenses, and state lawmakers are working on legislation to resolve the issue. Former Massachusetts Governor Bill Weld is no stranger to the Worcester area, and tonight he returns as the vice presidential candidate for the Libertarian Party. During 6 months of training, the trainees will go through 75 different scenarios. Thank you for joining us for our election coverage on Worcester News Tonight. Just a reminder, we'll have a recap of everything tomorrow on Worcester News Tonight at 6. We hope you'll join us then. The training is intense.
You need to be prepared every single scenario that you deal with, every traffic stop, every domestic, even a disabled motor vehicle. You have to always be on your toes.
You're more aware of your surroundings, how you present yourself, how you act. Everything is perception is reality, so you present yourself in a different manner.
It started in October, and for these trainees at the Massachusetts State Police Academy, they're almost done.
We started with 212 in the academy. We're at 158 right now, and our graduation is scheduled for April 1st.
These future state troopers are tested on how to respond to an intense situation.
Pass your hands on the ceiling, do it now!
And what to look out for on patrols.
You come in here as an individual, you have to work together as a team, because when you're on the road, it's not one person, it's a team effort.
During 6 months of training, the trainees will go through 75 different scenarios. It's part of 5 weeks of scenario training.
We feel that the training is second to none. We take great pride with the Massachusetts State Police in that training.
As soon as those gunshots go off, state police, blue, blue, blue.
And the trainees take great pride in learning to protect and serve.
You could ask my mother, she'll tell you, when I was younger, she would always ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? I was told I want to be a state trooper. I want to be part of the best. I want to be part of the tradition.
A tradition that will continue with a new group of state troopers next month. Andy Mattison, Worcester News Tonight. Solange Silva's home on Zenith Drive is among many places listed as a place to stay on Airbnb, a website that offers an alternative to the traditional bed and breakfast hotel.
It's very nice to get Airbnb, so you can choose with who you're going to stay.
In the last year, many have chosen to stay at Silva's. Some for a few days, others have stayed for several months, and her neighbors have noticed.
There were 6 to 8 people coming in at night, all different hours, ringing doorbells, saying, I have a reservation here, and we're saying, this isn't a residential area. I mean, this is a residential area, not a commercial area. There's nothing going on here.
The issue has raised concerns about whether Silva should be allowed to have so many guests staying at her home. Silva says she isn't doing anything illegal.
The city came already, the inspection came, they took me to court, the court decided I'm right.
There's already been one attempt to get a temporary injunction placed on the B&B house, but that case was dismissed. The issue was discussed at Tuesday night's city council meeting, and city leaders say they will investigate.
Mayor Patty, thank you for having
us. It's a tricky issue for the city because there aren't regulations for online lodging. Neighbors like Patty O'Sullivan feel the home may be violating city code.
Because it's such a quiet neighborhood, it is very disruptive. It's not as though there are trucks going by or anything. You're very aware of what's going on across the street.
They know how I live, they meet this neighborhood. They feel much better about Worcester.
An issue putting neighbors against one another as the city looks into whether or not it's violating any zoning laws. Andy Mattison, Worcester News Tonight. Former Massachusetts Governor Bill Weld is no stranger to the Worcester area, and tonight he returns as the vice presidential candidate for the Libertarian Party. The third-party ticket is targeting undecided voters and trying to drum up support in Weld's home state. Tonight, candidate Weld told a crowd he and Gary Johnson are in it to win it. Appearing in Worcester this evening, vice presidential candidate Bill Weld insists he and Gary Johnson aren't going anywhere.
Everybody wants us to go away. The Republicans want us to go away, the Democrats want us to go away, but we're not going to go away.
Dozens of supporters gathering at the DCU Center for Weld's appearance. Supporters say they are looking for an alternative to the two main parties in the upcoming election.
I used to vote Republican, but since 2012, I voted for Gary then, just because I didn't like what was on the ticket. This year, it's even worse.
The Libertarian Party is more into not so much in your business and being fiscally responsible. So those are two things I believe in.
The epicenter Aleppo.
Gary Johnson has made some headlines this election season for not being able to answer foreign policy questions. Weld acknowledges they have a lot of ground to make up to get close to Trump and Clinton, and the Libertarian ticket is looking at Weld's Massachusetts ties and undecided voters as a means to gain some support in the race.
We realize we're running from behind, not being in those debates, but we're going to do everything we can to get our name recognition up, which will give us the practical effect of being in the debates. And we're in this to try to run the table the last 30 days of the campaign.
Weld's appearance comes a few days after the first vice presidential debate between Democrat Tim Kaine and Republican Mike Pence, and a few days before the second presidential debate, which is scheduled for Sunday.